And hello everyone, welcome back to another C++ tutorial. So in this tutorial I want to talk about friend functions. Now I think the best way to explain what a friend function is to just jump right into an example. So let's say we have a class, and we can just call this class my class, and my class will have one public item, and this can just be the constructor my class, and all we need to do is we just set the private variable, which we can go private, and we can have one private variable called int num. Now of course we could just give it a default value like 0 here, but I'm just going to put it here just for fun's sake, and we can just say num is equal to 10. Cool. And then of course we add a semicolon here, and then of course we create our class. So my class CLS for class of course, and boom. Cool. Now let's make sure this runs. Okay, and it does. So if it runs, it compiles and runs, it's fine. Now let's create a function that is not part of this class. So let's go void get num, and here we can actually pass in my class and then a CLS, for example, as the name, and we can make it a reference, and I'll get to this in a second as well. We can then go cout, and we can just print out cls.num. Now you'll immediately notice we are not allowed to work with this. Num, as we all know, is private, and the only way we can access this num variable is if we make this function part of this class. Now the way we can do this without actually making this function only available to this class, because we might want to just use this on other classes as well, not just my class, or just on other things in general, we can go void get num, and we can just pass in this right here. Now as you also know, if we want to actually define this or actually have this in this, we need to go like that, and then we can say cout and num, whatnot. But the thing is, in this scenario, this get num is kind of part of this class. You can only use this get num from within this class, so you have to go cls.get num, and then you have to pass in cls again if you wanted to do this. But the point is, we want to use this get num as its own function, but still as something a class is allowed to trust. Like you would trust your friend with a secret. And here, the secret would be this number here, which is private. Like you would trust your friend with some private information of yourself, a secret. So we have to make this function a friend to tell C++ that this function does not exist on this class. It is not part of the class. You do not have to first generate an object before you are allowed to use this function. So we can say friend, and this will tell C++ that this function is actually a friend of this class. Meaning we can use all of the things inside of this class like we would normally use. For example, here's num and whatnot, by just passing it in. But now the difference is it's not actually part of this class. So if we want to use this with any other class or any other location inside of our C++ program, we can. It's not just limited to this class. Now, of course, we can just say get num and pass in CLS. Now if we run this, we get 10. So we are allowed to access this private variable even though this function is not part of this class. It's only a friend of the class. And of course you can also change that number. So you can go cls.num is equal to 100. And then of course it will change it to 100. There we go. And that's a friend function. It's basically a function that is on its own, but it's a friend of a class, meaning it can access details inside of that class by passing it in. If it's not a friend of the class, then the class will not allow it to access things like private variables. Cool. And we'll get to references in a future tutorial. Just know that when you create a friend and you want to pass in a class, you have to use a and symbol to kind of reference it. But we'll get to that in a future tutorial. For right now, don't worry too much about it. Just know you need it there. And that is the basics of friend functions in C++. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next C++ tutorial.